Rick, what were you pleased about execution-wise from your team today?
I thought the first half, our level of persistence was good, and it was consistent. Things stalled out some in the third quarter. I got to look at it. I haven't looked at any of the film yet, but the series is 1/7 over, and game two will be monumentally more difficult than this one.
Myles Turner, several big plays in that third quarter. How did that help you guys survive that Buck stretch in the second half?
Well, around the rim, he's a big factor, and he got some big rebounds, and he hit some important shots. And so, the important thing for us is when we attack, trying to find the right shots. We fell into a thing in the second half where we took some shots that were shots, but they weren't the best shots for us. And Milwaukee had a lot to do with it. So as you look at things from game to game, that'll certainly be one of the adjustments that we make.
That was my last question, but what else would you like to see some improvement in as it goes to game 2 on Tuesday?
A lot of things. I mean, Giannis got to the basket too much. We're trying to build walls. He's still getting there. And he's a great player, and great players cause, collateral problems. And so it's not a surprise, but, we got to look at that. We foul them a lot. We've got to cut down on fouls, and we'll see. I mean, the ebbs and flows of a series are so up and down. It's impossible to predict exactly what's going to happen from game to game.
That being said, obviously you go into this knowing Giannis is probably going to score. I imagine one of the biggest things you want to do is make sure he's not getting double-figure assists like he was. He only had one. Obviously, you were able to hold everybody else to better than manageable numbers. I mean, how did you like how you managed to make life at least a little bit difficult on him and make sure that nobody else was beating you?
Well, I mean, their shooters got going in the second half, and that's a concern. Some of those shots weren't necessarily coming off the first pass, but he had some hockey assists on those. So, we got to look at all that stuff. In an NBA game with great players, you can't take away everything, So we got to keep working on making it hard. And then, look, from game to game, there's no telling who's going to be available from a personnel standpoint. We got to be ready for Dame to come back, and a whole host of things.
Obviously, Ben Mathurin and Jarris Walker, basically Ben playing his first playoff minutes, Jarris playing kind of his first really meaningful, playoff minutes. What did you like about this? The contributions you got, especially from both of them in the first half.
I think they both did a very solid job out there. Mathurin's offense in the first half was a big factor. He had drives. He was active around the basket and cuts. Jarris hit a big shot. It's great for those guys to jump right into the deep end. Against a seasoned veteran playoff team in Milwaukee. I mean, they got a lot of guys that played a lot of playoff games, and to feel what it's like. The second half was a little bit different for everybody. It just, they went more zone. They got it slowed down a little bit. And so the game's going to feel different. It's going to be different. And so we got to look at that. But overall, I was very happy for them. It was a great opportunity for them to get right into it. And some very good things happened.
Remember last year you guys made a point of telling Drew that there was going to be scoring opportunities there, even in this series and the playoffs in general. And obviously you attacked right out of the gate. Just what did you like about his approach, especially early on scoring the basketball?
Everybody on our team's got to be armed and dangerous, to score. Striking the right balance is everything for our team. And so as we get into this and you go from game to game, there's going to be different storylines. There's going to be different skirmishes during the game. There's going to be all kinds of that stuff. We've got to maintain a level head and a high level of aggression while also maintaining poise.
Rick, Tyrese struggled shooting the ball tonight, but what'd you like about his overall game and still obviously doing what he normally does, getting guys involved?
Yeah, I don't worry about his shooting. It took a while for him to get on the board, but every team is going to be trying to make life miserable for him, and he understands it, and he's developed a really good discipline and patience when teams, try to take him out of it early. So, I'll have to look at the whole game to be really, really able to give you a global answer on that, but I thought he balanced things very well, and I thought defensively, his attention to detail was very good in this game, and it's got to be very good for everybody because these guys cause so many problems, and we're talking about a game where Lillard didn't even play yet, so there'll be a lot going on as we move forward.
Rick, you mentioned the other day that Pascal has understated greatness. What do you mean by that? What makes him understated and great at the same time?
Well, I think the average person watching the game wouldn't presume that he was 10 for 15 with 25 points. I think that's it. And a lot of his baskets come at in timely parts of the game, and for some reason they kind of get overlooked a little bit, But that's part of his grace as a competitor, and so. He's obviously very, very important to us. Thanks.
We know what to do. I'm not trying to cut you off, but we know what is good offense on our team, and we know what's not, and we didn't do it today. And that's on us. That's on me. That's on everybody.
I guess, around that, Kyle scoreless, Torian scoreless.
Yeah,
one shot.
It's hard to score when you don't touch the ball. No offense. Kyle got 2 shots in the first half, both with 2 seconds on the shot clock. So, Kuzma can play, but we got to involve him, and we got to make sure we keep him involved.
So I guess, is that? It would appear like that's an off day adjustment because clearly you went to a different unit to end the game. The bench group. So I guess what were you seeing in game that you felt that was the
we finished
play?
a lot with lately. The Bobby. So we didn't do anything different. But that's a lineup that has created offense for us. But I really thought the second unit came on the floor, the entire second unit, and I thought that's what got us moving the ball again. And then the starters came back in and they saw how we were playing and they joined in. So there's some really good things to take from this game. There's some things that we have to make adjustments to, and then there's just things we just can't do that we know better. And so it's probably all 3 buckets for us.
Was that just too many consecutive minutes? Like KPJ, I think, came in just under 8 in the third, finished. AJ just under 6 in the third, finished. But was that too long of a stretch though for that group to go a quarter and a half effectively, though?
I don't know. You look at their plus minus, it's pretty good. You look at the starters plus minus. So, it's one game, and we've had a week off. So, no, I don't. I think sometimes you stick with your group.
Speaking to the starters plus minus, is that a lineup that you feel like with a tweak can still be viable in this series?
We're better off. We've done it. We're a better offensive unit than that. But, we have to be that, though. And the only way that lineup can play well off it, they need more ball movement than the other one. The other lineup we have guys that can go downhill and create plays. The first lineup, we have to move the ball to get shots for everybody else.
Defensively, you guys gave up some switches onto Siakam. Is that something that you're comfortable with?
Some of them obviously you don't want, but overall I'm very comfortable with it. A lot of those are in zone. So those are things you can look at and figure out how he got to the places he got to and take those away.
I'm sure you'd take I know Tyrese created with double-digit assists, but I think he only had 2 shots, through the first quarter, and wasn't involved that way through. What did you like about Ryan starting and the way the team defended him?
I thought defensively we're pretty good. I still thought Tyrese or Halliburton still made plays though. He's an interesting kid because he's more than just a scorer. And on the nights that he sees that they're taking stuff away, he's smart enough the field that night and just make plays for his teammates. I thought he was very happy doing that. He's a point guard. And I thought he had a hell of a game personally. Even though he didn't score, he still got everybody involved. And that's just as dangerous.
Obviously, Nebhart got out on the run in transition,
Yeah.
but also in the half court, he was getting downhill or getting
Yeah.
to his jumper. Just how can you maybe
Just guard it.
execute better against
Yeah,
that?
we just got to guard it better. We allowed too many middle drives overall through the game. Not just Nemhart, but everybody. He's going to make a couple twos, and honestly, we'll live with the twos. We shot 37 threes, but we were 9 for 37. But the numbers they're a liar. Like the 37 threes, 25 of them, the passes were too late. You're open and then you're not open, and then we throw it. So we didn't play with any type of offensive rhythm to give our shooters a chance. Here's the good news: we know they're there. We know they're open. Now we have to do the right thing. Thanks, guys.
Buddy. Hey, Myles, what did you think was the key to getting off to that big lead in the first half?
Momentum, carried, I think, great through Gamebridge today. When you start the game off hitting shots and getting the crowd into the game, works well in your favor. So I think we did a good job of establishing the way we wanted to play early and then, defensively just flying around.
Myles, you held them to 98. What did you like about what you guys did defensively today?
I think we just made them be decision makers. At the end of the day, it's not a one-man job guarding Giannis or some of their better players over there. It's a team effort. I got to give a lot of credit to Pascal Siakam. To carry the offensive load and also the defensive load like that. It's going to be daunting. It's a tough going on all series, but we got his back.
Myles, you had 4 blocks today. You had the one in the third quarter on Giannis where the crowd just goes crazy. What do moments like that in a playoff game do for a team?
Momentum changers or momentum shifters at that. I think it's huge, especially when you're at home. You have to keep the crowd into the game. It's a big part of the playoffs, something I've learned just in my experience because, momentum plays a huge part in just, I guess, our style of play as well.
And then I saw Matherin had 9 of his 13 in the second quarter. How do you think he handled his playoff debut and the boost that he gave you off the bench?
I loved it. I think he's a very poised individual. I told him before the game, my only real advice for you is just to lose yourself in the moment and don't have any expectations. When you start setting expectations for yourself, especially for your first playoff series, that can lead to disappointment that doesn't even need to be there in the first place. So I think he did a good job of staying poised, and he played a great second half.
Apologies if you got asked this one already, but imagine going into this, Giannis is probably going to get his points, but you're trying to obviously make life hard on him, but mostly make sure he's not getting a ton of assists by getting a lot of open threes for other guys. What did you guys like about kind of your complete defensive game plan, especially holding them to 2 of 16 from 3 in the first half?
I think it was decent. We definitely have areas to improve. I think we fouled way too much. I think we missed time, some of our doubles as well. So overall, I think it was a good to get our baseline. That's what game one's all about. Get your baseline, you make your adjustments, you improve from there. So I'm glad that we got a dose of where we're at right now. Then, we watch film, we have 2 days evaluating them, we make our adjustments from there.
So obviously you were able to hit, I think, 4 or 6 from 3. Just how important is that for you in this series to be able to get some clean looks and knock some of those down?
Yeah, floor spacing is very important in the playoffs. It just provides room for everybody to work, and just me shooting the ball with confidence is something I've done for a long time now. So I'll continue to keep picking and choosing my spots, when to be aggressive, and mixing them in.
Myles, you've obviously been with this franchise for a long time now. You've been through a lot of playoff experience here. What does it mean to have this crowd behind you in the playoffs?
It's unbelievable, man. I think I was just talking to JJ about it. Just be able to hit the first shot. My first home series, opener series, whatever you want to call it, was really cool, man. It's the moments like this I don't take for granted. And my whole family's here. Everybody's watching back home, and I understand how the sport of Indiana. So, just to be the one that's seen the highs and the lows, and I think it's a beautiful thing to build. You know what I mean? I think a lot of guys can, get to organization, when they're hot or, jump around. And I've seen this thing from the bottom, and it's a very special moment. But we still have a long way to go, man. It's just one game down, and 15 more.
Andrew Nemhart had a big first half. What did you like about his performance?
I just think that he set the tone for us. Getting downhill, I think he went right at Brooke a couple of times, and when he's a very heady guard. I think people don't realize how strong he is, until you see the results. So I like the way he established himself defensively, and I like offensively how he just didn't settle.
Last one for me, Myles. When it comes to Pascal, 25 and 7 tonight.
Yeah.
How much do you appreciate just his steadiness? It doesn't always maybe look like it's the most explosive game. Then you look up, and it's like, okay, he's got another 20 again.
he's very consistent. Pascal is someone who's going to he knows his spots on the floor, and we know where to give him the ball on the floor. So a lot of the time, it's just him being patient and making reads. And I think he's done a phenomenal job since he's been here. Honestly, even since last playoffs, so just dissecting the defense and even just making tough shots. So no, got to give a lot of credit to him tonight. I said he carried both sides of the ball. All right.
You guys closed with that Giannis with the 4 bench guys lineup. That's been very successful for you guys. But I think it's something like 16, kind of 18 minutes. You guys end up missing some threes late in that. Just kind of how were you guys' legs, like playoff intensity, playing like a 16-minute stretch to kind of close that game out for you guys?
Playing 16 minutes is always tough. But at that point of the game, you just got to, have some will of fire and, find energy wherever you can find it. So, that's what we tried to do. We made a big run. We got it to, I think, 13-12 or something like that. And it was a game. But we can't allow it to get to that point. We got to come out fast, and we didn't do that tonight.
I guess what did you guys kind of like in that group? It's been a really good group for you guys over the last couple of weeks, but today, what did you see?
Specifically that group, our pace is very fast. And we typically try to let our defense be our offense with that group. High intensity defense, and then we get out and run. And then you have me and Giannis to slow it down if we need to. But that group is about defending and getting out. So.
You mentioned not letting it get to that point, to be down 24 at the break. Just first half, what can you contribute to the slow start, just broadly?
It's game 1. It's my first game, but it's playoffs. The atmosphere and everything, that comes with it. It's probably just, had to get into it. But game 1's done. We got our feet under. We see what type of series this is going to be. And we woke now, so.
Doc just mentioned that Tyrese is a point guard. It's not always about points, and he did create. But what did you all maybe like about limiting his shots or those looks, beginning with Ryan at the start of the game, and then I guess off of that though, what was maybe he unable to do with distributing?
I think we did a good job when it comes to him making shots. But we still can't overreact on his drives. We got to continue to make him score and be a finisher. I feel like he excels when he got his guys, when he drives and, they're cutting. You got a kickback action and all these things, and that's how you get 10 assists. But as far as, his scoring, we did a good job. We just got to, don't overreact on his drives and make him finish.
I think they shot 61% in the first half. What do you maybe see from what they're able to do getting downhill, and maybe your guys' miscues on the defensive end?
We had miscues, but that's just gonna happen. Kudos to them. They made some tough shots. They was getting into the paint and had to settle for some step back 2s and some long 2s from Myles Turner. Like he hit a step back 3. Like they had a night when it comes to scoring all around as a team. And they hit some big shots, especially when we made our little run. We missed the 3, and they made a big momentum shot. So just little things like that. We got to take care of the other guys, too, not just Tyrese.
We heard how loud their fans were. Obviously, they helped them a lot with their confidence tonight. I'm curious, how do you shake that coming back into this arena?
The fans are a part of basketball, but we know how to quiet them down. So they're going to be loud tonight for sure, but we'll see how the rest of the series carry on.
And then just mentally for you, what do you do for yourself to come back from a game like this?
Be more hungry. Coming into this game, we wanted to be the one to throw the first punch and, of course, walk out with this win. So I think this is a feel for us as a team. We know we can play better than we, put out there tonight. And we got to be a team to beat this team because they're a team at the end of the day. It's not one person, it's all of them. And we got to guard.
Speaking of that, if they get downhill, it's cuts off of it. It's not just you guys standing still. How do you guys maybe deal with that a little bit better?
All we got to do is lock up. Everything's defeated if we if we stop the ball and not let it get down, in our paint. And that's on me. That's on the guards. I had two mishaps where TJ drove by me, and that caused everyone to get in help and rotation. Like, that can't happen. Being one of the best defenders on this team, I gotta be able to keep my guy in front and contain, so my guys don't need to help me. And that's all around. We just got to be better on the ball. And even when our guys do get beat, we have our low man there. So.
Just finally, I realize it is a group effort to get it to 12 and a chance at single digits, but Giannis played a lot there too. And just I know the passes maybe didn't result in buckets, but what did you see from him either going to the rim, scoring, and sort of helping kind of get you guys into that spot where it was within 12 and a chance to get to 9?
Yeah, Giannis is, everyone knows, he's literally the anchor. He's tremendous for his team. He's going to be honest every night. We know that. We trust him to be honest every night. They're on my guy, though. They're attacking him. They're sending 3 at him. And, he's going to watch film. And we're all going to watch film together. And we just got to be a step faster, with our passes, with our swings. And it'll help him out, too.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate you.
AJ, you guys have right in front of you. You guys have a 24-point deficit at the half. Just how hard is it to go into a half of a playoff game down that much?
Yeah, I mean, that's never a spot you want to be in, but we were also in a similar position earlier this year here, and, we fought back. So we knew we was just going to have to be one possession at a time. We're going to have to really lock in, put together stops, and continue to trust offensively so that we can get our pace going, we can get into the paint, make plays, make shots. And we did some good things in that second half, but we got to continue to learn and build off that.
Obviously, you guys are able to do that in the second half. I think in the first half, one thing that when they get downhill, all of a sudden it's cuts. It's not just guys like standing still. How do you guys maybe handle that a little bit better or deal with that a little bit better as a defense?
Just contain the ball, one, lots of communication, and be early in our help to get out so that we're not, scrambling around. They're not, drive, kick, swing, drive again, because that's how, they play really well. And they can get shots that way. So just contain the ball better, communicate better.
Defensively, first half, I think they were shooting around 74% late in the first quarter, 60% for the half. I realize sometimes guys are going to make shots, but just what wasn't working, I guess, defensively as a group through those first 24 minutes?
I feel like we just weren't ourselves, kind of. We weren't physical. We weren't playing to our advantage. We know they want to play in transition, and I think they had 10 transition points in the first quarter, or maybe less. So just kind of, game plan, execution of knowing what we need to do, but not doing it, as well as we should. So we got to clean that up.
As one of the spacers on the team, beneficiary of Giannis's passing, he had 1 assist, which is rare. What, I guess, were you seeing as you were, filling your lanes and finding space, but when either those kickouts weren't coming or they were coming in different ways or at maybe the wrong time, what were you kind of seeing from how they were kind of mucking that up a little bit to prevent you guys from moving the ball?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shots out there to be had if we continue to move the ball and play together. I mean, Giannis getting downhill is never a bad option, regardless of if he passes or not, because he's going to get a bucket or, get fouled. So we want him to continue to be himself, and us as shooters continue to find space. And we know, throughout the whole season, he's had triple-double after triple-double. He's going to find us 4 shots. So continue to just trust and do it together, communicate together out there, what we see, what's open.
As far as the communication piece, mentally, what's the bounce back look like from this game as far as communication amongst your teammates?
Just learning from it, man. It's in a series, we know we can go into it and win 4 straight, but that's also hard to do. So we learn from this one and put it behind us and get ready for the next one because we know we're a lot better team. We can play a lot better. So just learn from it.
Siakam ends the night with 25 points, but he's 10 of 15 from the field. What maybe makes him so difficult for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he can knock down shots, play in the mid-range, play downhill. So we got to guard him as a unit, not give him as much space, hit him first on his drives, on his post touch. Takes 5 to do it.
I think there's a couple of possessions where you get him on a switch. Just what's your kind of mindset when you do end up getting switched onto him?
Yeah, just be physical. Get into him, be physical, send him to the help. We know on post touches we want to, send it low, send it to the baseline, and he wants that right hand on ISOs. He's looking to spin back to it. So just tendencies and trying to get into him and make him tough because he's going to make shots, but let's just try to make it tough. Thank you, guys.
Pascal, after the start you guys got off to in the playoffs last year, what to you was different today and so important in starting off on a different foot?
I think every time you step on the floor, you want to take care of business. I thought our energy was good in the beginning. Just sticking to the game plan, doing what we're supposed to do. Just playing as a team, communicating. I thought we did that well. I mean, in the first half, obviously, third quarter, it wasn't the best, but. I thought we came back and corrected some of those things. Got some important stops when we needed them and when we couldn't get a bucket. But yeah, I think it feels good to get the first game. But as we know, is for us to get 4. So that's the happy to get this one. Go back, watch film, correct the things that we didn't do right, and. We know they're going to make some adjustment. They're going to come back, and we got to just be ready for that.
You had the assignment a few times, but it is a team effort. What did you like about the way you guys defended Giannis, and what do you need to do better in that matchup in Game 2?
I mean, it's a tough coverage. Just, he's coming downhill. You got to, do the best you can. He's really good at getting to the paint, getting to the rim. He's strong. He's physical. So it's gonna take a lot. And I thought we did a decent job, but he got a lot of easy buckets there too. And we just gotta continue to make it as hard as we can on him. It's a tough job for sure.
You mentioned that third quarter, but is there anything specifically you'd like to see improvement from you guys in Game 2?
I think for us, just continue to make it look crowded out there. Get to shooters. Some of the shooters got loose. We know they can do that. So we gotta try to. Obviously, it's hard because you gotta be there to help for Giannis and then get to shooters. But we gotta get to them. And I thought we could have done that a little better at that too. And just even on defense, they scored 98. I still thought there was possessions there that we just didn't do what we were supposed to do, and we got to correct that for sure.
You were just talking about getting out of the shooters. I mean, obviously, they were 2 of 16 in the first half. I mean, do you look at that and say, man, there were ones they could have hit, or do you look at it and say, okay, was there something you feel like you guys did really well?
No, I mean, I think we got to make it hard. We got to make it hard, and like I said, it's a tough job because we got to do both. Try to stop Giannis and also get to shooters and we just got to make sure that we contest them. And like I said, it's basketball, and they just got to live with the results. But as long as our process is good, which I thought in certain instances it wasn't, as long as we get that down, we'll be okay.
You talked about him getting downhill. Obviously, you guys have pressed full court a lot, and you did that a lot less on him. What makes that the right move to be able to kind of be back and be set against him?
Yeah, I mean, he's fast, so
yeah,
you gotta make sure that you're there. And it's a hard job. He's athletic, and he can do it all. So kind of just make sure you're in the right spot and don't want him to just blow by you. So I think that's those precautions you have to take.
So obviously you go 10 for 15 for 25 in this game, get shots from a bunch of different areas. Just what you like about your own approach and how you managed to find shots in the spots that you like?
Just trying to get to my spots, playing the game the way it's supposed to, just simple, not a lot of thinking, just play the game. And at this point of the year, like it doesn't matter, like next game, time might go for 30. Like it doesn't matter. I think as long as we play the right way and we get the shots that we're supposed to get and the shots that we want to get, I think that's what's important. And for me, I just gotta try to stay aggressive on both sides of the floor. And have an impact in the game, and it's just not scoring, it's everything else. And yeah, like it was a decent game.
What did you like on and off the ball from Drew defensively today?
Yeah, Drew was aggressive from the jump. I like his, when he's aggressive, getting downhill. Like I always tell him that, like he's one of the best at doing that. Like he can get downhill. And also we know what he can do on defense. Like yeah, he's a special player, and I just love the way how aggressive it was, and from the jump, and we need that from him.
You were without Matherin all last year. Today he played some pretty crucial minutes. What did you think about his first playoff experience and first playoff minutes?
Yeah, it was great. I thought Ben was great. He did a good job on defense. I liked his approach on that, just picking up full court, guarding. And we know how talented he is, and I think at the end of the day, like it's just making sure that we put him in position to be successful, and for himself, just keeping the game simple. And I thought he did that today, and I'm sure that's not the best we're going to see from him for sure.
Pascal, the cameras caught you and Dame telling you all how much you love each other. But how much do you think moments like that, seriously, when you're competing and I may be talking church, whatever, just how much do you welcome that come playoff time?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say about that. I think it's just, it's a lot of talking at the end of the day. I just want to hoop. I want to play ball. And obviously, we know it's the playoffs and it's extra, and all of that. But I'm focused on the game. Like, I want us to continue to, do the things that we're doing and trying to go out there and win games and do it the hard way and do it, together. And to be honest, like that's what I'm focused on. Like all the other stuff is, it's not my focus.